you can paste it later at the end.
Yeah, I will do it at the end of the session, ma'am.
Yeah, Aksa.
Okay, ma'am.
Yashasvi, can you just ensure that you let everyone enter the meeting? You are a co-host, so you can do that.
Yashasvi, can you hear me?
That's okay. I am here. Oh.
Saloni is also there, na? Yuti, Saloni.
Yeah, so I am allowing everyone to join,
Yeah.
and we are streaming on YouTube. Girls, kindly mute yourselves. Twinkle ma'am has not yet joined.
Yes, Yuti, I'm here. I have joined.
No, ma'am. Okay.
Hello, Vaishali. How are you?
Okay, she's also on some other ID.
Vaishali, no, Vaishali is from Vaishali's ID.
No, ma'am. You are also from some other ID.
Correct my name.
Twinkle ma'am, we have been able to go live on YouTube for this session.
Okay.
Swati ma'am, can we give this another 2-3 minutes and then we'll start? Because there are a lot of people still joining.
No issue, no issue. No issue.
Thank you.
And there are two more people will be joining because they will have to take photos of this webinar.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so just allow them.
Yeah, I'm allowing everyone to enter.
Yeah.
If you want me to make them co-host or something, please give me their names.
No.
Okay.
Swati ma'am,
Yeah.
we have Dr. Twinkle Sangvi with us. She is the IQAC coordinator. Twinkle, can you come on with? There she is.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello,
Yeah.
How are you? Nice meeting you.
Same here, ma'am.
And a wonderful opportunity to our college. Thank you.
Yeah. For us also, it's a great opportunity to interact with the children, with the faculty members and all.
Yeah. Thank you.
Because the first, we have to talk to students first for
Yes,
any initiatives to, grow.
that is true. The
Yeah.
students' confidence only,
Yes.
really puts the work on the track.
Yes.
And Vaishali has been doing a wonderful job in tourism.
In fact, Swati ma'am, we have a wonderful team. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And in fact, Twinkle, from morning, we had that internship work
Yeah, you
session.
had that,
From that
right?
session, me, Swati ma'am, Beauty, we all
Yeah.
are together.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful session in the morning.
It
Yes.
went well.
Yes.
It
Yes.
really went. It went
Yes.
well. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Good. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, so Swati ma'am, now we are waiting for your colleagues and then I think we can start.
We can start. They will join later on. They will
Okay.
join. Yeah,
Okay.
later.
So
Yeah.
Vaishali ma'am, please
We
take
can
over.
begin, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. So, girls, you all are ready for a wonderful session? Yeah? Sure. So, good afternoon,
Yes,
one and all
ma'am.
present here. On behalf of the Commerce Department, I welcome the faculty, the student, our resource person from today, the special guest. She is Swati ma'am with us, and a
Thank you.
wonderful opportunity to interact with her. Well, this is on the behalf of the Pre-Independence Day celebrations, which is going to be our 75th year of India's independence this year in August. This is a wonderful opportunity coming to us in the form of a webinar titled Azadi Ka Amrut Mshotsav. And also, we are celebrating the anniversary of our India's first world the war. Okay, so that again is one more opportunity. I'm really so happy to introduce to you our today's resource person, Ms. Swati Barsode. She is the Tourist Information Officer, Ministry of Tourism. Initially, ma'am was working at the India Tourism Office in Goa, and that is for last 3.5 years. But now, from the last 5 years, she's been working with India Tourism Office Mumbai branch. It's so wonderful to have with us, ma'am, today.
Thank
Yeah, she's working for the information, publicity, as well as travel trade division. So, girls, I think we are lucky to have with us, and that too in the pandemic situation, a wonderful opportunity coming to us. A historical webinar, after all, we're going to have today. I think before Swati ma'am begins, one announcement to the students. At the end of the webinar, we'll be pasting the feedback link. Please do not leave, fill it up, and then only leave the meeting. Okay? So now, Swati ma'am, up to you. You can begin.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vaishali ma'am. Good afternoon and warm welcome to all the faculty members and students of Maniben Nanavati Women's College. I'm Swati Barsode, Tourist Information Officer from India Tourism Mumbai office. Our office is situated at Nariman Point. This is the regional office of Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. And we have another offices in Western region, that is in Indore, Goa and Aurangabad. And this particular India Tourism Mumbai office looks after the promotional activities in Western and Central region comprising the states of Gujarat, Goa, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Union Territories of Dadra, Nagar Haveli, Diu and Daman. Uh, for any kind of information, you can send us email. We have an office at Nariman Point, Mumbai. And today's webinar is based on Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav. So what is Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav? How we celebrate the Silver Jubilee 25 years, then Golden Jubilee called as 50 years. Amrit means the completion of 75 years. As you all are aware that India got independence on 15th August 1947, and very soon in next year, in August 15th August 2022, we will complete the journey of 75 years. And the number 75 here carries its importance. Therefore, the government of India decided to celebrate this event for 75 weeks before the Independence Day, which will complete 75 years for our journey. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you're
Yes,
audible.
okay, yeah. So now this initiative started by our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, on 12th March. He started this initiative from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi by flagging off the uh, Padayatra from Sabarmati to Dandi on 12th March 2021, just recently. And this event concluded on 5th March. So from that onwards, we are celebrating this Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav on a weekly basis by organizing these webinars, painting competitions, and many more things. Now, I'll show you one small film on this Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav. It's a 2-minute film, which you will get an idea about this initiative. I'll just share my screen. Ma'am, can you play the first video? Can you play the first video?
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
Just give me a minute. I'll just open
Yeah,
the
yeah,
video.
yeah, yeah.
Ma'am, before I start playing that, just 1 minute. Our IQAC coordinator would like to at least speak a couple of words before we
Okay.
really go on to the video. Would that be okay with you?
Yes, yes, no issue.
Twinkle, ma'am, kindly please. I'm so sorry. We made
No,
a
it's
glitch.
fine, Yuti. Absolutely fine. It is really interesting. And Swati, ma'am, I want to share one thing that even I did my PhD on medical tourism. So I can
Okay, ma'am.
connect with it, and a lot of economical development due to this, tourism industry has got a lot of, this thing, infrastructural changes in nation. And for this webinar, on behalf of our principal ma'am and supervisor Rita Patil, I would like to wish both of you, the Commerce Department and Swati ma'am, for the initiative, and hopefully we'll see in future also collaborations. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Surely, surely. With
Thank you,
different
Yuti.
topics and all.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank
Yeah.
you.
thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll just share the screen now, ma'am. Kindly let me know if this is audible.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
15 अगस्त 1947 भारत के असंख्य वीर पुत्र पुत्रियों के बलिदानों के फलस्वरूप शस्य श्यामला मां भारती की धरा ने आजादी के अमृत का पुनः रसास्वादन किया। 15 अगस्त 2022 हिंदुस्तान को आजादी मिलने की 75वीं वर्षगांठ। यह ऐतिहासिक पड़ाव न केवल एक अनूठा राष्ट्रीय पर्व होगा, वरन हमारे अतीत और भविष्य को एक सूत्र में बांध हमारे स्वतंत्रता सेनानियों के स्वप्नों को साकार करने का एक अभूतपूर्व अवसर भी होगा। इस पर्व को अविस्मरणीय बनाने हेतु आइए आप और हम इस आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के सहभागी बने। यह उत्सव है हमारी आजादी का, यह उत्सव है हमारी बहुरंगी गौरवशाली सनातन संस्कृति एवं अनंत प्राकृतिक एवं मानवीय धरोहर रूपी अमृत का। यह उत्सव है हमारी अनेकता में एकता का। यह उत्सव है एक उज्जवल भारत के स्वर्णिम भविष्य का। यह उत्सव है जन जन का। यह उत्सव है 130 करोड़ भारतवासियों का। यह उत्सव है विश्व के सबसे विशाल जनतंत्र का। यह उत्सव है आपका, हमारा, सबका। यह है आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव। जय हिंद।
Thank you so much. So this is Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav, small introductory video which I played. But today's date, that is 10th May, is very important date with the historical movement because it started on 10th May 1857, which is called the first war of independence happened on 10th May 1857. So this 10th May 1857, I'll just give you brief about 10th May 1857. The Indian sepoy of the East India Company stationed in Meerut rose in revolt against their British masters. They set their comrade free and quashed those who tried to quell the uprising. The bugle of the first war of Indian independence had been sounded and there was no looking back. Over the next years or so, lakhs of brave Indian women and men cut across religion and region, caste and creed to fight against British atrocities on their fellow citizens and the assault on their motherland and their culture. From Meerut to Delhi, from Lucknow to Kanpur, from Jhansi to Rohtak, and to many other places across the country, innumerable known and unknown martyrs ignited the flame that led to India's independence in 1947. A grateful nation can but pay homage to them and build an India that they would have been proud of. So this is a little background about today's day, that is 10th May. And there is one small video about this India's first war of independence. Ma'am, Yuti, if you can play this second video,
Sure,
please.
sure.
10 मई 1857 मेरठ छावनी में तैनात ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी के भारतीय सिपाहियों ने अंग्रेजों के खिलाफ युद्ध की उद्घोषणा की। अपने साथियों को मुक्त कर उन्होंने हर उस व्यक्ति को नेस्त नाबूद कर दिया जिसने उनके विद्रोह को दबाने का प्रयास किया। यह भारत की स्वतंत्रता के पहले संग्राम का शंखनाद था। इस शंखनाद के पश्चात लगभग 1 वर्ष तक भारत के लाखों वीरों और वीरांगनाओं ने धर्म, जाति, वर्ग एवं राज्य के बंधनों के परे अंग्रेजों द्वारा किए जाने वाले अत्याचारों और अपनी मातृभूमि एवं संस्कृति पर हो रहे निरंतर हमलों के खिलाफ डटकर यथासंभव युद्ध किया। मेरठ से दिल्ली तक, लखनऊ से कानपुर तक, झांसी से रोहतक तक तथा देश भर में कई अन्य स्थानों पर असंख्य ज्ञात एवं अज्ञात शहीदों ने वह ज्वाला प्रज्वलित की जो अंततः 1947 में भारत की आजादी में परिणत हुई। एक सुदृढ़ एवं उन्नत राष्ट्र का निर्माण कर ही हम कृतज्ञ भारतवासी वास्तविक रूप से 1857 के शहीदों को सच्ची श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित कर पाएंगे। जय हिंद।
Thank you so much. Now there is a small session on question answer session based on the history. I'll just ask to the students and they can write their answers in their chat box. Okay. So the first question is, during World War II, Japanese government handed over the islands of Andaman and Nicobar to Azad Hind Fauj. What did Subhash Chandra Bose rename them as? Anyone know the answer? This is little difficult one.
Girls, please, if you know, please put it in the chat box. Stop putting the attendance in the chat box. Yeah. Yes, girls.
During World War II, Japanese government handed over the islands of Andaman and Nicobar to Azad Hind Fauj. What did Subhash Chandra Bose rename them as? No, I'll just answer because this little toughy question. It's Shahid and Swaraj. Okay, second question I'll ask you. The Mahatma Gandhi's Ashram Sevagram is in which district of Maharashtra? Mahatma Gandhiji's ashram Sevagram is in which district of Maharashtra? No, Maharashtra, dear.
Gujarat.
Ma'am,
No,
maybe
dear.
Vardha.
No. Wardha. Wardha is the correct answer. Gargi Kulkarni, she gave the correct answer. One more student gave the correct answer. The third question is, on whose order did the Jallianwala Bagh massacre took place? On whose order did the Jallianwala Bagh massacre took place? Can anyone answer?
General Dyer, Japan. These are the
Yes,
answers.
correct.
General Dyer is the
Yes, yes.
correct answer.
Correct answer. Yes, yes, yes. General Dyer.
Yes, yes.
And the fourth I'll ask you, that is Barakpur, where Mangal Pandey has initiated the 1857. This is related to today's movement. Indian Mutiny lies in which state of India? Barakpur, where Mangal Pandey has initiated the 1857 Indian Mutiny, lies in which state of India? No.
I doubt they will know that. MP, Delhi, no. Maharashtra.
It's West Bengal. West Bengal. Now the next answer, next question I'll ask you, that is, on which ground did the Mahatma Gandhi issued the Quit India speech on 8th August 1942? On which ground did Mahatma Gandhi issued the Quit India speech on 8th August 1942?
Girls, avoid putting your attendance here. Please, we are waiting
August
for the
Kranti
answer.
Maidan.
Correct, correct, correct. August Kranti Maidan, which previously known as Gavalia Tank Maidan, also known as Gavalia Tank Maidan. August Kranti Maidan. Correct answer. So, friends, you have heard the stories in your history book about Gandhiji's, Subhash Chandra Bose, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, then about Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Savarkar, and many more. But today, I'm going to show you two unheard stories of India's freedom struggle, which you never heard before. So, this next video is based on the two unheard stories of freedom struggle. So I'll ask Yuti ma'am to just play the last videos for this today's webinar.
Hello and welcome to a special session of Dekho Apna Desh. Today we will travel across India, a beautiful motherland, while we hear some of the lesser known stories of our struggle for independence from centuries of colonial rule. These are the stories of sacrifices, of generations of men and women to ensure that we can breathe in a free country. Jaya Hind.
This is an active business center in Mumbai,
Horniman Circle. See, during their time in India, the British named all the big and important streets and buildings after big and important British people. So when they left in 1947, Indians decided they were going to rename all of these places after Indian heroes. But Horniman Circle is an exception. Indians also renamed this, but in memory of an Englishman after the British left India. So who was Mr. Horniman? What did he have to do with the Indian independence movement? I'm going to tell you that story. So the Indian independence movement was a large and complicated event. It included so many protests across the country. Different people were taking part in it. But very sadly, most of these protests were confined to whatever place they started in. People didn't really know what everyone else was doing across the country. And one of the big reasons for this was that the British had complete control of the press. They decided what was going to be published. And so many of the incidents of protests and dissent that were undertaken by Indians went unreported in newspapers. And English newspapers also, they were very pro-British. So when they reported about something, it was in a very biased way. Enter Benjamin Horniman. He was an English journalist who lived in Bombay in the early 1900s, and he worked at an English language newspaper called the Bombay Chronicle. Now, the Bombay Chronicle had been started by Sir Feroz Shah Mehta. He was a staunch nationalist, and he even served as the president of the Indian National Congress. So Feroz Shah Mehta felt that all of the English language newspapers in India, none of them were writing about what Indians wanted to hear about. So he started up the Bombay Chronicle and he invited Benjamin Horniman to come in as the editor. He couldn't have picked a better editor. Benjamin Horniman was someone that championed the free press. He was a veteran journalist, and most importantly, he was strictly against colonialism. So when he came on board, he started to use the Bombay Chronicle to talk about Indian nationalist causes. At first, the British, they tolerated him. But then Horniman began to take on big British figures, viceroys and generals, and very soon he made himself quite a few enemies. Then, in 1911, came the massacre at Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar. Over 1,000 peaceful protesters were shot in cold blood on the orders of a British commander. The situation got very tense. The British realized there could be a terrible backlash over this. They clamped down on the press. No reports of this incident were allowed to be published in Punjab. Can you imagine Horniman allowing this to pass, a champion of the free press like he was? So he decided that he was going to use his own contacts, and he managed to smuggle out one report, a first-hand report of the entire incident. And then he published it. He broke this story that horrified a nation, and it spurred on even more agitation against the British. Horniman didn't stop there. He published follow-up after follow-up, consistently talking about the British atrocities. And very soon, the Bombay Chronicle grew very, very popular amongst the Indians. That got the British really worried. First, they imprisoned the journalist, the reporter who had actually written that article. And then they decided, they were desperate. So they said, we're going to deport Horniman. And they sent him all the way back to England. That was a big mistake. See, Horniman smuggled all of the photographs and the reports about the atrocities by the British. He took them back to England, and he broke the same stories to a horrified British public. Now, what was the result? So what happened? Well, the British were forced to confront some of the harsher realities of colonial rule in India. The Jallianwala Bagh massacre was brought up at British Parliament and condemned by several big politicians. And as for Horniman, he continued to write about British cruelties in India from England. And then in about 1926, he managed to find a loophole in his deportation order. He made his way back to India, sat down and continued his work of writing about the nationalist cause. Red building, which you're seeing on your screen over here, This is the office of a newspaper called the Bombay Samachar. It is a newspaper that's published in Gujarati, and it is the oldest functioning newspaper in all of Asia. It was first published in 1822, and it continues to be published today under a new name. It's now called the Mumbai Samachar. So it's been running for over 200 years, actually, nearly 200 years. Now, today, this building, it was also the building where the Bombay Chronicle itself was born. So it's the place that Horniman worked from. Now, Horniman finally died in 1948, very soon after independence. And that's when this circle, where the Bombay Chronicle had its offices, where Horniman worked, that circle itself was renamed the Horniman Circle, and was renamed in honor of an English journalist who showed Indians the importance of the free press.
Let's talk now about a successful revolt that went way back to the 1700s. Now, this story is based in a place called Shivaganga, and that's in interior Tamil Nadu. Once, there was a fort that stood very proud over there, but that fort has vanished. In its place stands this little building that you can see on your picture. There was a women's army in India nearly 250 years ago, and it took part directly in face-to-face combat. In the late 1700s, the big kingdoms of Tamil Nadu started disintegrating and split apart. New kingdoms emerged, ruled by new kings. Two such kingdoms happened, and one was Ramanathapuram and the other was Shivaganga. Now, the king of Ramanathapuram did not have a son, but he had a daughter named Velu Nachiyar. He raised his daughter exactly as he would a prince. He taught her politics, he taught her economy, he taught her martial arts. And in the mid-1700s, there was this young girl, Velu Nachiyar, who could speak English, French, and Urdu. In 1746, Velu Nachiyar was married off. She was married off to the neighboring kingdom, the kingdom of Shivaganga. There was a prince of Shivaganga, and Velu married him. Now, his name was Muthu Vadiganada Periya Udaya Tevar. We'll just call them Muthu and Velu to make things easy for all of us. Muthu and Velu had a happy marriage. Very quickly, a baby daughter was born to them, and very lovingly, they named her Vellachi. All was good in Muthu's family until tragedy struck their lives very soon. You see, the Shivaganga kingdom had to wage a war with the neighboring kingdom of Arcot. And the neighboring kingdom of Arcot was supported by the British. You must remember, mid-1700s, the British were a very powerful force in South India, and they had a very strong ally in the Nawab of Arcot. So in 1772, the British army marched against Shivaganga to secure it for the king of Arcot. Muthu realized he really couldn't fight this powerful army, so he sent an emissary to meet up and discuss terms. It seemed like the British did agree, so the Shivaganga army relaxed its guard. And the moment it did that, the British forces swept in and massacred every one of them, including King Muthu. Now, Muthu had two warlords, two very loyal warlords named the Marudu brothers. They quickly rushed to where Velu was camping to protect her and tell her the bad news. Now, Velu did have a choice. She could have surrendered to the British, taken a pension, and lived out the rest of her life comfortably. She was too brave and too feisty a woman to even think of that alternative. Moreover, she was burning with this desire to get her revenge on her husband's death. So she and her daughter and a bunch of loyalists, they all left that place and escaped into further deeper into Tamil Nadu, into what is today called the Dindukal region. Her bodyguard had a female regiment commanded by another lady named Udayal. So Udayal stayed back to kind of stall the Arcot army. The Arcot army came, Udayal faced them, there was a war. Udayal was captured, she was tortured cruelly, but even at the worst, she did not reveal where Velu was hiding. Ultimately, she was beheaded. Velu was devastated. She decided she would raise another army, a woman's army again, and name it after Udayal. And that's how the Udayal regiment was born. And this Udayal regiment was commanded by a young girl named Kuili. Kuili was fiercely loyal to Velu, and she was willing to do anything to make sure that Velu lived. By now, the Shivaganga fort had changed hands. It belonged to the British because the Nawab of Arcot had handed it over as a reward for their help. And to beat the British, the homeless Velu needed a much bigger army. So for 8 years, she walked around South India, trying desperately to gather an army to herself. British spies were just one small step behind her. But Velu herself had a bunch of spies and a bunch of bodyguards, and somehow they kept a tiny step ahead of the British. And she kept wandering and wandering until finally her search ended when she met Hyder Ali, the king of Mysore, a very powerful man and a very bitter enemy of the British. Hyder Ali was terribly impressed by this fierce woman who spoke to him in his language, who spoke to him in Urdu, and convinced him that he had to help her. He agreed. He sent 5,000 of his strongest men to support her in her battle against the British. So this combined army marched to Shivaganga, and when they got to Shivaganga, they realized that the British, who now owned the place, had fortified it really heavily. There was no way they could get in. And this was when Kuili came up with a very smart idea. She suggested that all her female guerrillas dress up very nicely and prettily, carry large baskets of fruits and flowers, and go into the fort because this was the Navratri season. It was a season of celebration. So they could all go in like as if they were praying to the temple, praying in the temple inside the fort. And once they got in, they could act. So she expected to surprise the British, open the gates, and let in the remaining army, which was waiting for this signal. Everything went according to plan. Kuili and her female guerrillas entered the place. They whipped out their guns from their fruit baskets. They took the British completely by surprise. Kuili did something more. She hunted for the ammunition store. She doused herself in oil. She ignited herself and just walked into the ammunition store. A massive explosion shook Shivaganga. The guerrillas opened the gates. The Liberation Army swept in, and everything went just as planned. Kuili's sacrifice did not go in vain. Velu Nachiyar was crowned monarch. She ruled for the next 10 years. After her, her daughter, Vellachi, took the reins. She too continued to rule, and further, her descendants too, until the merger of the princely states with India in 1947. There was a king or a queen sitting on the throne of Shivaganga.
Let us take a minute to summarize our learnings from today's session. Rani Velu Nachiyar of Shivganga was a dauntless warrior and one of the earliest freedom fighters to take on the might of the British. Benjamin Guy Horniman, a British journalist, was an ardent supporter of India's struggle for independence. The picturesque Horniman Circle in Mumbai is our tribute to a true friend. There are innumerable lesser known heroines and heroes of our freedom struggle. It is our duty to respect their sacrifices and help build a great nation. Before we bid goodbye to each other, let us play a short quiz. Your question is: which of these iconic sites is situated within a square kilometer of the Horniman Circle in Mumbai? Your options are: number 1, Kanheri Caves; number 2, the Asiatic Society of Mumbai Town Hall; number 3, Haji Ali Dargah; number 4, Sri Siddhi Vinayak Temple.
Student know the answer for this?
Fourth option, Sri Siddhivinayak Temple.
No, it's Asiatic
It's the
Asiatic
Asiatic
Society of Town Hall. It's just in the vicinity from Horniman Circle. Okay, next question. Only two questions are there. I'll not ask you more
The
questions.
correct answer is option 2, the Asiatic Society of Mumbai Town Hall, which houses the Asiatic Library. Your question is, Rani Velu Nachiyar belonged to the modern state of Tamil Nadu. Which of these iconic heritage sites is not located in Tamil Nadu? Your options are number 1, Pattadakal, number 2, Tanjavur, number 3, Mamallapuram, number 4, Madurai.
Answer?
Third one, ma'am.
No. A is the correct answer. It's Pattadakkal. Pattadakkal is in Karnataka.
The correct
Pattadakkal,
answer
Badami,
is
Aihole.
option 1, Pattadakal, which is located in Karnataka. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed our special session today. See you again
Thank you.
soon. Bye bye. Till then, dekho apna desh.
Just pause over here. Pause here. Pause on this live for a while. Yeah. Just pause. Yeah. Just keep this as a screen. So here we will conclude the session of our this Azadi ka Amrut Mahotsav over here. But at the end, I would like to request all the students of Nanavati College that the ministry is, from last April, she's showcasing the different episodes on Dekho Apna Desh webinar. It started from last 14th April, and almost we have completed 85 episodes under Dekho Apna Desh webinar. These webinars are conducted on every Saturday at 11 a.m. So I'll request everyone to follow the Instagram and Facebook page of Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, as well as you can take a picture of this particular slide, because these webinars are on our incredibleindia.org website, as well as Ministry of Tourism website, the last episodes, which you can see at your pace. And for the future webinars, you can subscribe the Facebook page or Instagram page. The next episodes, what will be there. These Dekho Apna Desh webinar series are based on different aspects of tourism like medical, yoga, wellness, then craft, golf, then cuisine, many more things like the uh, homestays, the different concepts of tourism. That all information you will get from this Dekho Apna Desh webinar. So I request everyone to log on to incredibleindia.org website or Ministry of Tourism website to view these episodes, because these are very informative episodes, and different speakers, they showcase these content, they work on this. So I request everyone to log on this episode. And at the end, I would like to thank the principal of Maniben Nanavati College, Vaishali madam, Yuti madam, all the faculty members of college. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to officially give a vote of thanks from our side. First, to the Ministry of Tourism for taking this initiative with our institute, Maniben Nanavati Women's College. We are very happy to be organizing this Mahotsav, because 75 years and
Yeah.
it is a long time. And some
Yes.
of us, either this generation,
Yeah.
even us to a lot of extent, have not even struggled and not
Yes.
even seen 1%.
True.
It is our parents and to a lot of extent our grandparents who went through this fight.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the First World War, the massiveness of this whole era is something that we have completely missed out on.
Yes.
It's nearly
Yes.
200 years that we've been fighting.
No,
And
yeah, true.
still the freedom of speech, and today's world, especially when we are all stuck in our houses, I'm sure all of
Yeah.
us have that feeling that we want to go out. It is a very beautiful way of at least knowing something new about our own country. And yes,
Yes, true.
definitely we should all pledge that rather than visiting the international countries, first we should see our
Yes,
own
true,
country,
true, true,
the values
true.
and the beauty
Yes.
of our country, and then we'll forget to go out of this
Yeah, true.
country. So
Yes.
with this, I would say thank you so much, Swati ma'am, and thank you to the whole ministry for associating with our
Thank you so
college
much.
and
Thank
giving
you.
us this and our students this opportunity to actually witness something different and new. We
Yeah.
hope to be associated with you for a
For
long
many
term.
min program. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you, Vaishali madam. Thank you, Twinkle ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Ma'am, with
thank you
this,
all
we
students.
officially end today's session.
Yes.
Yeah, I will
Thank
be
you.
closing the
Yes.
meeting now. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
bye.
you.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.